Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose. Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. I mean, the greatest show on earth. Give me a drum roll. Okay, Greg Anthony here on the Investigative Journal. You always get that, don't you, when you try to get the truth out. You know what they say about the truth? Mark Twain said it. He said the truth is stranger than fiction. But it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. And the truth isn't. So what we do here is we stick to fiction. It's better than the truth because you're always hearing the mainstream media tell you, we're telling you the truth. Then you hear all these stupid alternative stations who are infiltrated by Jesuit infiltrators like Alex Jones say, you can't handle the truth. You know? We don't even bother with it here because we know that truth is stranger than fiction. They don't stick to any possibilities. Look at what's going on in the COVID-19 thing. Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Oh, wow. What a day. Greg Anthony here, and I hope you enjoy the day. Give me a round of applause for everybody that listens to this show. Come on. This time to thank everyone who made this show possible. You ever see those speeches that these darn actors give you at these Hollywood? I'm glad they can't meet anymore. That's one good thing about this. They can't do their, Emmy Awards, and they can't do anything. Greg Anthony here. I'm going to tell you why this show is better than any show on earth. But before I do that, look at what's going on in New York. That idiot de Blasio. See, we're only as good as the leaders we put there. And if we put these yahoos in, what do you expect? You get what you deserve. He comes out today and says, no public gatherings except for Black Lives Matter. They can go out and protest because it's socially necessary. You know something? This guy, and people are going to take it, get out of New York. I mean, there's a whole huge country out there. Go to Greenland, Iceland. There's many places to go. In fact, the leaders of Africa, and I'm going to get to this in a minute. I'm going to show you what the president of Ghana just said about the COVID-19. Why don't we have leaders like this? I remember back in the 60s, a lot of blacks were saying, we need to go back to Africa. I'm telling you, I want to go to Africa. Who cares? Black, white, green, nobody really cares anymore. But, they want to make this an issue. And by the way, this idea of Black Lives Matter, don't take the words literally. Now, if you say literally Black Lives Matter, of course they do. I mean, I'm not a kindergarten student. I know all lives matter. I mean, you're grown up with an idea, hopefully, except if you're one of these elite Rockefeller, Kissinger people. I don't know where they come from, Perhaps they come from the underground or something, because they're born with blood on their lips, I think, or something. They're constantly wanting to kill people. And so does Fauci and the Jesuits over there. This guy's a Jesuit shill I knew it from the first day. The first time I heard his name, I said, Dracula Fauci. You know why? Because through a kind of osmosis, because I'm trying to break the curse to free America with the Second American Revolution, I somehow know these things. Like I said the first day, he's a Dracula Fauci. I don't know where that came from. So maybe it's kind of infiltrating me, and then this is what's going to happen to the whole world, including Tom Hanks. Yeah. Tom Hanks came out with all the evidence that masks is harmful to your health. I mean, all you got to do is look at health regulations in every one of your darn cities, and you'll see that masks impede the breathing patterns of people, and you're not supposed to wear them. OSHA has regulations for workers, before they're allowed to put one on, and they have to test the air. So, I mean, just take the exempt laws. Don't say anything to the people when you try to get some groceries, and, show them they're violating the law. But Tom Hanks says, I don't respect anyone that doesn't wear a mask. You know, who cares if he respects anybody? You know, once we break the curse, you're going to hear him for the rest of his life be relegated to talking to that soccer ball, because that's about all he's worth. And that's the truth. But no, it's a fiction, because if it's the truth, you know it's stranger than fiction. But anyway, I'm never going to say the truth again, because it's so confusing. Nobody knows what it is. You know, the only truth I know is this, that one day I wake up in the morning and I'm infected with this COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease. Oh, we needed that, didn't we? You know, in the world we live in, we need to. I start the day every day with the laugh machine. You know, I wake up and I hit it, and guess who sent it to me? Brad Pitt. Yes, because he listens to my show, I heard. And Brad said this. He said, you know, I love you, Greg, because, and I said, don't start with the love Hollywood stuff, will you, Brad? Come on, you're from the Midwest. But listen, you know, I constantly said that Brad is exempt from wearing the mask based on millions and millions of emails sent to him, and all the governors and everybody have got it. So they've given him an exemption card because he's too beautiful. Yeah, I mean, women cannot live without seeing Brad Pitt's face when he goes out into Hollywood or he goes into Beverly Hills to do some shopping, you know, where he takes his credit card and he goes, listen, I think just take $1 million off and give me the whole store. But they need to see his face, so he's got an exemption, and he appreciated me telling everybody that because he's got such a beautiful face. We can't wear a mask, and I wonder if Tom Hanks respects Brad Pitt. We got to ask Tom that. I mean, these people from Hollywood. So anyway, you know, he sends me this laugh machine, and I wrote back to him, and I said, Brad, why? He said, well, I had to buy one because I was going through withdrawal symptoms. And it's an applause machine, too. So he said, every morning I start out like this. With a little round of applause, Greg, he says in his email. He says, yeah, a little round of applause because I can't take it. I'm so used to it. I mean, I need people doing my hair. I need the makeup. I need people telling me every morning, I love you, boy. But not the people that are close to me. You know, no. I'm always, those relationships never work. You know, and then he got into this diatribe and started crying about Angela Jolie and everything. But anyway, he said, all the strangers love me. I go into work and they go, oh, I love Brad Pitt. Can I have your autograph? And, you know, these Hollywood people are having, you know, withdrawal symptoms sitting up in their Malibu. They don't know what to do anymore. They're sitting up in these $1 million Malibu mansions going, okay, let's go, guys. Then they get on there. I've heard they've hired, you know, Molly was telling me, you know who Molly the pigeon is, and she's our carrier pigeon here at the replica Roman Colosseum. And that's because we're bringing all these New World Order people here to fight, so we can have some fun once in the lifetime, right? So anyway, Molly was telling me she's doing better. She said, you know, I know every one of our pigeons that do this kind of work, and we're hearing that Hollywood is using some of our pigeons because they don't want Governor Newsom to know that they're having big, huge parties up in Topanga Canyon and all these places in Malibu Canyon. And they're all coming in at the dead of night when nobody sees anything. They're paying off the police so they can come through, of course. And they have these big gatherings. Yep. All the Hollywood people. So the only people that can really get together now are the Hollywood stars and the Black Lives Matter people. Yeah. Can you believe that? That's what Bill de Blasio, Comrade de Blasio said, the mayor of New York. I mean, come on. Who puts people like this into office? You do. That's why you deserve what you get, American people. Yes. You deserve every little thing. Don't come whining to me when you say, we have no rights. I've been telling you that for 25 years. You know, oh, but yes, we can still do this. Yeah, now try to do it. You can't even go outside without having somebody take your temperature. I think that's the most idiotic thing in the world. I didn't even call for a doctor. Pretty soon they're going to want to vaccinate you with something they don't even know what it, well, I know what it is. We had a guy in my night show last night from India, and it's going to genetically modify you so that all your offspring are going to be cyborgs like these other people that are running our country now. So if you want to do that, go ahead. You want to change mankind, get vaccinated. But anyway, Black Lives Matter. People don't, they use a name like this. It's kind of like if I said Polish Lives Matter. Okay, let's just use that. Do you believe that? Yes, of course. Do Italian Lives Matter? Of course. Now let me explain what I'm talking about. Let's say I started an organization called Polish Lives Matter, okay? And then everybody thought that I was out, I guess we can go out and have social justice, Mr. de Blasio. If I can put a shirt on, Polish Lives Matter, and I can go outside and we can have gatherings, polka parties for thousands of people, right? What's wrong with that? Social justice. Come on. Start thinking, Americans. These governors can't give you orders like that. They can't order you to wear anything. Where are you coming from? This is all basically wrong. They can't do it, so just don't do it. I mean, this is right up my alley. If you've gone to listen to my show for the last 10 years, one of the things I do for, kicks, a lot of people like to do, they go do little things, they go camping, they go hunting, things like that. Me, I wake up and I look to break stupid laws. I did this before COVID-19. I mean, stupid laws that are on the books that harm no one, that don't need to be there. I find them and I go break them. I don't care where they are. Every state in the union. I've been to 49 of the 50. And I've broken a law, stupid law in each one of them. And some of them are like, you can't walk down the street with 2 chickens in your arm. Okay? I did that one. That was in Kentucky. Where did that was made in 1981 or 1881. They still have it on the books. So you know how many stupid laws we've had in this country? Well, now we're getting a whole dose of them. And they're not even on the books, and people are believing them. So anyway, Polish Lives Matter is a social justice organization. You would think that on its face, right? But behind the scenes, what we really want to do is create a Marxist communist country. Yeah. So what we do is we get involved behind the scenes. We don't even incorporate ourselves. And then what we do is we funnel all our money into a different organization that goes to the Democratic Socialist Party. And we have people like Susan Rosenberg that work for us. Now, who is Susan Rosenberg, right? Well, she was a terrorist that was involved in trying to overthrow America back in the 70s, I believe. And she was involved with a terrorist organization back then. I can't quite remember the name. A couple New York policemen were killed in bombings, etc., etc. She was basically sentenced to 58 years in jail for her involvement in bank robberies, terrorist activities to overthrow America, policemen getting killed. And then when Clinton, at the dead of night, and his last day, Bill, by the way, Bill Degenerate Clinton, he basically pardoned her after 16 years in jail in the last 15 minutes of his presidency. Now, where is the outcry with the left-wing media? They're going crazy because they want to, Trump may get rid of, may pardon Roger Stone, who basically is being persecuted. And they're worried about that, but, hey, let Susan Rosenberg go. Well, you know what? She's involved in Polish Lives Matter. Now, if that happened to me, and I was in Polish Lives Matter, I would be arrested, okay? Now, just transfer what I said, Polish Lives Matter, to Black Lives Matter. That's what they do. They use a name like that, when in fact the organization is not here to help black people. And I'll tell you why. They don't say a word. They don't go protesting when 7 children are killed in Chicago, a 3-year-old, in random gun violence. Chicago, they call it Chirac on the south side of Chicago now. They don't say a word. The media doesn't say a word, except for maybe Fox. And then all of a sudden what they do is they don't do anything about the drive-by shootings in New York, which are skyrocketing now. So, and they got a video of a black man with his child getting shot in the back and killed, walking down a New York street. Now, where's the police? I mean, can't you get an ID on the license plate, try to find well, listen, what they're doing, they have what's called a no bail law in New York. So, for example, you commit a crime and you can be on the street in 6 hours and then do it again. And they've arrested people that have been thrown in jail 100 times. And, when Biden gets in, they're going to do that all over the country. And then I said, well, how can the federal government dictate a bail law in Hoboken, Arkansas? It's going to be a great, interesting thing. But once they get in, they're going to spread their wings. And let me tell you something. The Republicans seem to know the writing on the wall because they're not saying a word over all of this stuff. And they must have been sitting in with the meeting at Georgetown. That's that tunnel between Georgetown and the White House yesterday when I was listening to their script and their plan for the next presidential. They got seasons. Every season, every year is a new reality show season. We're coming up on the new presidential season, and they've already scripted what they're going to do. And so the Republicans must know that Trumpy is no longer going to be the actor in the role of president anymore. And so they're not saying anything, and they're trying to kowtow up to these liberals. But we know it here. We know what's going on. We know the fake truth they're trying to tell us, because there's no possibility this could be happening in America unless it was planned, right? Unless this whole thing was planned, I don't see how this could be happening. And we know it is because we listen to what they're doing every day if we want to. I mean, I turn them off sometimes because I start to, have a cerebral hemorrhage when I listen to this stuff. But anyway, I think the best thing they said the other day in that meeting was this. You got to listen to what I got. I got it on tape. Okay. That's one reason why Trump is not coming back. He's got a colitis problem. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. But that was some of the things I had to listen to when I tuned into Georgetown. I mean, come on, guys. Have some couth. They're in a big meeting, in a closed room. Can you imagine being in there after Trump did that? Give me I can't really get through the day, my show anymore, unless I get some applause. I guess this thing with Brad is rubbing off on me. Thanks for this machine, Brad Pitt. I can do a lot with this. He's giving, there's animal sounds in here, funny alien sounds. I mean, he must really have fun with this. But I wonder if I'm going to email him right now. Brad, do you ever play the boo thing here? I'm sure he does, I do, because I used to go to these comedy clubs, and man, I just warm up. I hear a lot of boos, and I'm used to it, so it doesn't bother me. Because for every good joke, there's 3 bad ones, right? That's the comedy rule of thumb. For every good, there's 3 bad. But like in baseball, I try to hit at least 3 out of 10 and 300, and man, you can make a living out of having fun with people. That's why I am the luckiest man in the world to be doing this every day. I mean, one person shouldn't be allowed to have so much fun and then at the same time be crying. Yeah, crying my eyes out after this show. But anyway, what the heck were we talking about? Oh, Black Lives Matter. So they use that like I use Polish Lives Matter. But really, the organization is a terrorist group. And they're obvious because they don't really care about the black lives that die. I care more than they do about the people that die in Chicago. I mean, what are you going to do with this? I mean, that's my hometown. Although Chicago is so divided, the north and the south side has always been, well, let me tell you, I got some time here. I might as well stray off into a story. The violence in Chicago has always been there. I mean, we're thinking it just happened. But I can remember back when I was in college, my good friend, a family named the Sullivans, and Tim was my good buddy. We went to high school together, and he went off to University of Illinois. I went on a football scholarship. Can you believe it? I wish I would have just been a football coach. a much happier life. But anyway, you can't play football anymore. So look at they're getting rid of everything. I mean, baseball, football, it's so ridiculous. They should be out there playing. The boys this summer are at home going, remember when you were a kid? Oh, Mommy, I can't go out and play baseball. I might catch a cold. That's what they're all doing. But the funny thing is, man, they must be getting paid, because I don't know. If I was making $10 to $11 million, I'd be yelling my head off that this is fake. Come on, guys. I want to go out and play ball. But then they're saying it's got to be controlled. We've got to make sure that not too many people touch the baseball. They're worried about that. So you're going to see that, after a strikeout, you probably don't know the little intricacies. I played baseball a long time. After a strikeout, the catcher throws the ball to the third baseman, then the third baseman to the second baseman, back to the shortstop, the first baseman. He then throws it to the pitcher, who rubs it up, maybe spits on it a little bit to get a little bit of traction. They can't spit anymore. Plus, they're not going to be throwing the ball around like that. Yeah. And then you're going to see this. Ground ball hit to the third baseman. He's like holding the ball. Come on, throw it. Come on, the guy's running the first. Throw the ball, for Christ. For God's sakes, throw it. And he looks up and he looks at the umpire and he says, can I throw the ball to him? I don't want to get COVID virus. And the umpire says, no, you can't. Base hit. Base hit. That's an error. This is what they're doing to baseball. And then you're going to get the next guy comes up, next batter. Number 24. Playing left field. Up. First pitch, line drive, deep to left field, way, way back. Oh, it looks like it's on the warning track. And boing. The left fielder just ran away. And what is that going to be, a home run or what? He just ran away from the ball. And we interviewed him after the game, and he said, I was too afraid to catch the ball. I don't want to catch COVID virus from that guy. He was and I said, well, did he have COVID virus? No, he didn't have it, but he was seen and he was contacted by a contract tracer, and he was seen in the bar last night, the place Mickey Mantle used to get drunk all the time, and he was talking to one of the players that's got COVID virus, so he has it, and I'm not catching the baseball. So you think that's off crazy? No, it's not crazy what happened to him. Why he didn't catch the baseball. And the reason it's not crazy is because right now they're inflating these COVID numbers, because I can read to you something that was sent from the health department to do this. That's why you're seeing a lot of COVID numbers. Okay, they get a guy that tested positive, and basically 8 out of 10 people test positive and don't have it anyway as false positive. It's just a fake test. And basically now then, these contract tracers who are being paid to spy found out that he was with 10 people yesterday, and each one of those 10 people were named, and those 10 people were listed as having COVID virus without even testing. So listen, why don't we just cut to the chase? Why don't you just send an email to everybody in the United States, okay? And just say, sign here online that you have the COVID virus, and let's forget about the testing. We all have it. I basically have the COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease, yeah. And I'm at this stage in it where I can't stop singing sometimes. I mean, I'll be talking about something serious like COVID virus, and all of a sudden I break in. I can't, like it's happening now. Baby, I'm yours. Baby, I'm yours, and I'll be yours until the sun no longer shines. See what happens? I can't stop it. Now, I don't know what to do, so I better call Dr. Fauci and say, hey, I've got the COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease, and I break into singing, until the sun no longer shines. Oh, come on, Greg, stop. Okay, listen, I got to take a break. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app. for all of your mobile devices. Streaming First Amendment radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, folks, we are back on the greatest show on earth, the Greg Anthony Show, last half hour. Yes, and we got a lot for you. This show is the greatest show on earth, and I promise to tell you why. And there's some reasons I cannot help but tell you, yes, and we're going to get back to where we were talking about how stupid it's going to be to watch baseball this year. And that's where this whole American Revolution that I'm working with, the Second American Revolution, with Slats Grobnik got started because he said, give me baseball or give me death. Well, anyway, this show is better than listening to the House. Yes, not your house. The resolution in House 66666, that's your crazy, crazy people over there in Washington, and I mean they're out of their minds. Seriously, authorizing contract tracing to everyone. It's the Contract Tracing Everyone Act. They say 1.5 million cases. They say we want 20 million, 30 million. Everybody traced, contact traced, and turned into Chinese Americans. Yes, I'm not talking about having anything to do with being Chinese. That's what we're calling the country, the Chinese United States of America. Because we're going to be just like them. You know, capitalism with a fascist touch to it. You know, it's really going to be nice. That's what they tell you. But it's also better. And I got to get into this, really. Well, first, I can tell you, because we're going to talk a little bit about Africa. I want to move to Africa because it seems the presidents there know more about this than our own leaders who are still, you know, Trump today, you know, he is basically a shill for the Jesuits, just like the Biden and everybody. But he's still talking about, we gave all these ventilators to people. You know, that's what killing people. Doesn't he know? No, because he works with them. If he was real, Fauci wouldn't even be on the stage. This whole thing wouldn't even happen. But he's not. Let me have a cup of coffee. Let me see if how many people like that. Half of America would do this when I said that. And half of America will do this. silent war. That's what Trump did for the Jesuits. We've learned this in these secret meetings, where they actually, really tell us this is a reality show. So how can you believe anything? But anyway, this is how you create a silent war. You get two factions, half of America booing, half of America applauding, and then they fight. And in the end, guess what the Jesuits are going to do? Yesterday, in the meeting they have in the tunnel between Georgetown University, which I call the second White House, okay, let's call it that, and then of course we have Georgetown, we have the White House, and they meet. Luigi Franconi, the Jesuit director of this reality show, meets with the actors, gives out the scripts, etc., and then they have a little party, or they, come on, Donald, you gotta make sure your tie is straight, do you need any more people to get you dressed in the morning? I know you got a hectic schedule, stuff like that, important stuff. And then they go out and they give you all the, propaganda in their reality show, and then they laugh about it when they realize, hey, we're going to have a global government soon. And we're getting you out of office, Don, without losing face. Because he signed an agreement when he came down that elevator 15 years ago on The Simpsons that he would be president for one term, but he wants to get out with dignity. I'm not a loser, he said. I've been a winner my whole life. So they figured out a way to do it. And now they got, this was funny yesterday. I'm getting off on a tangent here. But isn't that what life is? You seemingly are going down one path towards your goal, and then all of a sudden you hit a fork in the road and you spend 10 years doing something you don't even know why you did it. Isn't that what it's all about? That's what the show's about. It's just like life. I had a goal. I want to play a video, but you can't see it, but you can hear the president of Ghana tell the World Health Organization to stick it. And then I get on a fork in the road and I start talking about this stuff. And then for pretty soon, my whole life is gone. And I go, what did I do? I don't know. Isn't that just like life? Then all of a sudden my half hour's up and I go, wow, I don't even remember what I was going to do. Isn't that just like life? You're probably thinking the same thing. I know I did when this COVID virus hit. I mean, I was really, the day before I heard about this, I was living, I'm going, oh boy. Everybody's out. Can't wait for baseball season to start. I'm going to go buy my extra baseball. I always do this because I watch a lot of baseball games. I admit that. And I was going to go out and buy my pass. I buy it on TV, and I watch all the baseball games that I want. And then I found out the boys of summer were frightened to go play baseball. Some of them are complaining that they got the COVID virus, and they're giving that's what they're doing. Many of the big stars are out there trying to get people to wear masks and everything. And then some of them now are afraid to play, and then they got all these crazy rules that I went over with in the first half hour. They don't want to touch, they're limiting the people that touch the baseball. No spitting. The baseball players are going to maybe sit in the stand 6 feet apart. How are they going to ever have a pitcher's meeting? They can't. So they're going to have like a helmet cams or something, where they can talk to the pitcher in his hat. And it's going to be a stupid game. And they're worried about if somebody slides and they slide and they get a cut on their knee, they're going to be expelled from the game. I mean, stuff like this. No touching, no handshaking, no hugging if you win a game. Remember when a guy hit a home run and everybody goes crazy? You're not going to see that. They're going to stay 6 feet apart. Yeah. The umpire is going to be 6 feet away from the catcher. The batter's got to stay 6 feet away from the catcher. Can you imagine that game? No coaches allowed on the field. And they won't even be in the dugout, maybe. The manager's going to be up in the booth like football coaches, probably, up with the broadcasters, who will only be 3 or 4 broadcasters. In fact, when you look down at the park, you're not going to see any people. I will have more people come to my Little League games when I played than these guys are going to have. What kind of game is that? Who's going to want to watch? They're going to have to use my laugh machine, to have at least something yelling. Maybe they're going to do that over the loudspeaker. They're going to have them go, come on, Ronnie, let's go. Come on, batter up. Come on, man. They're going to have to do everything digitally here, I remember when I went to a base, I was yelling my head off. That was a crazy, stupid call, umpire. They're not going to do that. Umpires are not going to argue with the manager. They got to stay 6 feet apart. It's not even going to be a game. Then when the ball gets hit, nobody's going to want to catch it. Like I said, ground ball to shortstop. He's running away from the ball. Well, John, with this COVID-19 crisis, it could be dangerous for him to catch that ball because it was touched by the pitcher. The bat, did you see what the batter did before the game? He put that rosin on and he spit on his hands. He's going to be fined for that. And that spit could have got on the ball. So it was a very good play by the shortstop to avoid it. So what do you do? Is that a base hit or an error, John? Well, we'll have to wait for the official announcement from Washington, D.C. and Anthony Fauci, who's taken over ruling on all the instant replays will be done out of Washington. The World Health Organization is going to do all the instant replays. Now, isn't that something? That's why we started this revolution. It's called Give Me Baseball or Give Me Death. So now you're seeing how crazy the world's become. And I got into the fork in the road. We got rid of didn't we talk about the Black Lives Matter and straighten that out and Polish Lives Matter? Didn't we talk about that? Yes, we did. And it's similar. Okay. That's what we did. So now I do want to get, to the president of Ghana. And remember, I do this show is better than being the president of Tanzania. These African presidents know what they're talking about because they kicked out the World Health Organization. Remember when John Magufuli sent the coronavirus testing people the blood of a goat, the saliva of a pheasant, and the juice of a papaya, and he sent that in with fake names. John, you're going to be arrested for that. You are going to be arrested for that. And anyway, it all came back positive. So he kicked out the World Health Organization and said, go back to work, people. Do what you're normally doing. So now, I know you're tired of listening to my voice here. And basically, I'm going to start breaking into another song. I can feel it coming. So I want to do this before I have to make you suffer. And I want to play this. It's about 14 minutes and it should fit right in. And then you can have a nice weekend. Be with your loved ones. Don't listen to what these people are saying. Go out and socially distance. But do this. Get close together like they do with Black Lives Matter. They're not getting sick. All you got to do is put on social justice on your T-shirt. And whatever nationality you are, go Italian Lives Matter. Polish Lives Matter. Mexican Lives Matter. What else? Spanish Lives Matter. Portuguese Lives Matter. Icelandic Lives Matter. We could go on. You want me to name all 180 countries? No. But anyway, let's do this. You're going to, move to Africa. Listen to what the president there is saying. Now, why aren't our people saying that? Because they're all working for the Jesuit New World Order that wants to turn it into a globalist country and a socialist country. And that's what's happening. And they're doing it with what I'm calling the new silent war. Okay, let's listen to John before I get off on another tangent. Okay, just to be clear here, this is the president of Ghana. If you don't know where that's at, it is in Africa. And he is exposing the corona hoax agenda. So let's listen to the president of Ghana. Yes, we will. Here we go. Come on.
Dear fellow Ghanaians, please listen to this extract from the Rockefeller Foundation article. It's actually on the website, a PDF document. And this is the outline. 1. Hypothesize a simulated global outbreak required steps, various phases, overall timeline, and expected outcomes. Rockefeller Lockstep 2010. Create a very contagious but super low mortality rate virus. To create, to fit the needed plan. And they have SARS/HIV hybrid research strain. So you see, it is not a purely viral thing. It's a hybrid research strain created at Fort Detrick Class 4 lab from 2008 to 2013 as part of a research project to find out why coronavirus spread like wildfire in bats but have an extremely hard time infecting humans, hence the 4 HIV insects, also known as the missing key to infect the humans, ACE2 receptor in brackets. Create a weaponized version of the virus with a much higher mortality rate as a backup plan, ready to be released in phase 3, but only if needed. And they have, in brackets, SARS, HIV, MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Disease or something. A weaponized tribrid strain created at Fort Detrick Class 4 lab in 2015. Okay? Transport the research strain to a different Class 4 lab, National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg, Canada, and have it stolen and smuggled out by China. Wow. On purpose, and taken to China's only Class 4 laboratory, Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China, for added plausible deniability and to help cement the wanted backup public script as something to fall back on if needed. Primary script being its natural backup script being that China created it and released it by accident. That's why we said pandemic or accident according to plan. Found all the talking heads, Fauci, Bergs, Tedros, and agencies, WHO, NIH, CDC, UN, that would be involved with pandemic response prior to the planned release of the research strain to control the wanted script throughout the operation. Create and fund the vaccination development and rollout plan so it's capable of being rolled out on a global scale. Bill Gates' Decade of Vaccines Global Vaccine Action Plan 2010 to 2020. Create and fund the vaccination verification certification protocols, digital ID, to enforce, confirm the vaccination program after the mandatory rollout is enacted, Gates ID 2020. Simulate the lockstep hypothesis just prior to the planned research strain release, using a real-world exercise as a final war game to determine the expected response timelines and outcomes. Gates, and that's Event 201, October 2019. Release the research strain at the Wuhan Institute of Virology itself, and then blame its release on a natural scapegoat as the wanted primary script, the Wuhan wet market, November 2019. You see how this thing has been really captioned? This is mystery of iniquity, wickedness, cached in secrecy. Downplay the human-to-human transmission for as long as possible to allow the research strain to spread on a global scale before any country can lock down or respond to avoid initial infection. Can you imagine? No wonder the WHO, that's exactly what the WHO did. Downplay the human-to-human transmission for as long as possible to allow the research strain to spread on a global scale before any country can lock down or respond to avoid initial infection. Once a country has seed infection in place, lock down incoming, outgoing travel, but keep the transmission within the country spreading for as long as possible. Once enough people in a country or region are infected, enact forced quarantines or isolation for that area and expand the lockdown regions slowly over time. Overhype the mortality rate by tying the research strain to deaths that have little to nothing to do with the actual virus to keep the fear and compliance at a maximum. If anyone dies for any reason and is found they have COVID, consider it a COVID death. And if anyone is thought to of maybe had symptoms of COVID, to assume they have COVID and consider it a COVID death. So this is what we have been hearing, that a lot of the deaths have been exaggerated. That's why the Americans are challenging the Chinese. The Chinese were not wrong. They were quoting the right figures. But this thing was bred and brewed in America by the Americans, by the depopulation agenda of Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and the Rockefeller Foundation. So what they are counting in America, a lot of them has nothing to do with COVID-19. There are many people who have died of other diseases that have nothing to do with COVID-19, but have some of the symptoms, and they just branded all of them as COVID-19. That's why Anthony Fauci could stand and speak with confidence that there will be 200,000 deaths. Shame on him. Keep the public quarantine for as long as possible to destroy the region's economy. Can you see? Can you see? To destroy the region's economy, create civil unrest, break down the supply chain, and cause the start of mass food shortages, as well as cause people's immune system to weaken due to lack of interaction with other people, bacteria, the outside world, also known as, or aka, the things that keep our immune system alert and alive. So this thing we are doing is actually making us susceptible to diseases and weakening our immune system. That's why we should go out. They are joking. Downplay and attack any potential treatments and continue to echo that only a cure is viable to fight this virus, ACA, or also known as a vaccine. Continue to drag out the quarantine over and over and over again in 2-week intervals. Hey! Causing more and more people to eventually stand up and protest or defy them. Eventually, God have mercy. Eventually, end the phase 1 quarantine once they get enough public pushback around June 2020, and publicly said that they still think it is too early to end the isolation, but are going to do it anyways. Once the public go back to normal in course, wait a few weeks and then continue to overhype the research strain mortality rate, August to September 2020, and combine it with the increase in deaths due to people dying from standard illnesses at a higher rate than normal due to having highly weakened immune systems from months of being in isolation, to help further pad the mortality rate and hype the upcoming phase 2 lockdown. So there's a phase 2 lockdown they are planning. Eventually enact phase 2 quarantines October to November on an even more extreme level and blame the protesters, mostly people who don't trust their government already, for the cause of the larger second wave. We told you so. It was too early. This is all your fault. Cause you needed a haircut, your freedoms have consequences. Enforce the phase 2 quarantine at a much more extreme level, increasing the penalty for defiance. Replace fines with jail term. Deem all travels as non-essential. Increase checkpoints, including military assistance. Increase tracking, tracing of the population. Mandatory apps. Take over control of food, gas, large-scale shortages so that people can only get access to essential products, services, if they are first given permission. Keep the phase 2 lockdown in place for a much longer period of time than the phase 1 lockdown, continuing to destroy the global economy, further degrade the supply chain, and further amplify the food shortages and alike. Quell any public outrage using extreme action and force, and make anyone who defies them appear as public enemy number 1 to those who are willing to submit. After a rather long phase 2 lockdown, 6+ months, roll out the vaccination program, vaccine certification, and make it mandatory for everyone, giving priority access to those that submitted from the start, and have those that are for it attack those that are against it, saying they are a threat to the cause of all. the problems. We can't go back to normal until everyone takes the vaccine. People defying them are hurting our way of life and therefore are the enemy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, fellow Ghanaians? Listen. If the majority of people go along with the agenda, then let those people enter the new system, new normal, while limiting the minority that defy the agenda's ability to work and travel. If the majority of the people go against agenda, then release the weaponized SARS, HIV, MERS, tribrid strain as phase 3, a virus with a 30% plus mortality rate as a final scare to push the minority to quickly become the majority and give a final "we told you so" to those that didn't listen.
Okay, you heard that. I mean, wouldn't that be nice if he was an American politician? I mean, you don't hear anybody in Congress talk about this. So, I think I trust him more. Don't you? He gave you some hard... I'm going to put the whole interview. It's only 5 minutes longer, but I'm going to put his video up on my website at greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com, and you can listen to it. But that's what we're up against, folks. And you can say you heard it here, and you won't hear it here much longer because they're going to be cracking down on all free speech. Anything that is contrary to what the New World Order, the Vatican Jesuit New World Order says, you will not be able to speak. Back Monday on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, "The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ." This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.